Hey monsters, thanks for tuning in to Murder Murder News, the true crime cult for the latest breaking news, murdery memes, TV reviews, podcast recommendations, and all things spooky. In the lee of a picturesque ridge lies a small, unpretentious true crime cult, one that pampers its baby goats like its own babies. Hi, I'm Aurora Katie, and if you like true crime as much as I do, then you'll appreciate the craftsmanship and quality of a local cult who brings a spookiness to their murderous tales. Come experience the difference a good cult family can make in your murder story consumption.
Hey, it's me, your online murder friend, Angelina. Cults are no fun alone, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell all of your true crime friends to join the commune at murdermurder.news. This is the Week in True Crime. We've got a sad story out of Lima, Ohio this week as two young parents lost their lives in an apparent murder-suicide. The body of Mikki Starr, a 27-year-old medical technician and mother of two, was found in her home on West Ford Avenue alongside that of her husband, 29-year-old Zachary Starr, last Wednesday afternoon. A conundrum for this digital age, authorities have rounded out their case with some disturbing messages posted on social media by Zachary. But both his and Mikki's privacy settings reveal only sweet comments on happy photos on both of their Facebook pages. While we may never know what it was that Zachary posted that day, it caused worried family members to call the local police, leading to, I guess, exactly what you would expect. Detective Sergeant Jason Garlock, the head of this investigation, said, "We had information from family members that there were some social media messages that gave us the indication that's what we're probably looking at right now." I'm not sure what to make of that statement. It's so shrouded in mystery. But a preliminary investigation has concluded that Zachary shot Mikki to death before turning the gun on himself. Both bodies have been sent to the Lucas County Coroner's Office for autopsies. The couple leaves behind a 7-year-old son and an 18-month-old daughter, and by the looks of their Facebook feeds, some heartbroken extended families. Anyone with information about this case is asked to contact the Lima Police Department at the number below.
32-year-old Rinaldi Harley Wismanu had been missing from his home in Jakarta since September 9th. His family became suspicious that something may be wrong after not hearing from him for several days and reported him missing on September 12th. Unfortunately, his body has been found mutilated and stored in suitcases in a 16-story apartment in South Jakarta this past Wednesday. The details of Rinaldi's murder are incredibly disturbing. According to MBS News, Rinaldi met 26-year-old Layli Atik Suprahatin through Tinder on September 5th, and the two exchanged several messages on Tinder before moving their conversation to WhatsApp. The two agreed to meet in Layli's apartment in Pasar Baru on September 9th. Layli and Rinaldi had sexual relations, but Rinaldi didn't know that Layli had a boyfriend, Jumadil Al-Fajri, who arrived at the apartment earlier in the evening and was hiding in the bathroom. While the two were having sex, Jumadil came out of the bathroom with a brick and a knife. He then hit Rinaldi with the brick 3 times and stabbed him with the knife 7 times. Layli and Jumadil had planned the attack on Rinaldi because they believed he was wealthy and wanted to rob him. Rinaldi had studied in Japan and was actually married to a Japanese flight attendant. He was working for a Japanese construction company as a human resources manager, and the two killers withdrew about $7,000 from his bank account after his murder. The couple has said that after they murdered Rinaldi, they realized they didn't have a plan to dispose of his body. They purchased a machete to saw the body into 11 pieces and then wrapped them in plastic and placed them into 2 suitcases in a backpack. They took a rideshare to an apartment they had rented in Deepak and planned to dispose of the body there. Once Rinaldi's family reported him missing, the police were able to trace his whereabouts to the apartment where he was murdered and tracked Layli and Jumadil down from there. The two have been charged with premeditated murder and theft, which both offenses are punishable by death.
This week, we're watching No One Saw a Thing on Sundance. This 6-part series covers vigilante justice in a small town. Ken Rex McElroy was shot dead in broad daylight in Skidmore, Missouri in 1981. His wife was with him at the time, and almost the entire town watched as several people pulled out guns and shot Ken in the middle of the street. Even with nationwide news coverage, according to everyone in the town, no one saw a thing. So what would drive an entire town to hunt down and kill a man in the middle of the street? You'll have to watch to find out. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
We are so excited to have Megan and Danielle with us from this week's favorite podcast, Crime and Roses. Crime and Roses is a true crime and Bachelor recap podcast that ties in true crime stories with Bachelor Nation. Thank you so much for joining me, Danielle and Megan. How are you both doing today?
Awesome. How about you?
I am so good now that you're both here. We've been talking before we started recording for like 20 minutes about how much we love different reality TV. So like this is already the best interview and day of my life.
Glad we can help with that anytime.
So I'm not going to lie. I am really big into reality TV, but I'm new to The Bachelor. And I actually just binged the entire 24th season in 3 days because I love you all so much. And I wanted to be in on all the gossip on your show and know what you're talking about. So how did the two of you meet and what inspired you to start your podcast together?
So we actually worked together. We're both attorneys in Georgia, and we were working in a very small office together. And literally it's like the size of a closet, and there were like 15 people in that room. And Danielle mentioned something about The Bachelor one day, and it kind of caught my attention. And I was like, hey, I like that show. I've been watching it for years. It's got a lot of problems. I would love to talk to you about it. And somehow we also got we started talking about true crime. We would go watch The Bachelor together at this bar in Midtown Atlanta. And they had the giant screens. So it's like Peter Weber's face was 15 feet tall, which no one needs. And Danielle eventually was just like, we need to start a podcast together. Okay, cool, let's do it.
That's literally that's exactly how it happened. I think like when we got together and we to meet up to watch The Bachelor, I just was nervous to say it, but I listened to so many different podcasts and I was like, I like to talk and I have a friend now to talk about this with. So we just talked about it and I said, somehow we're going to wrap in true crime. And then this little community started to blossom of people who were like, I actually like The Bachelor and true crime too. We thought it would be just like us talking to ourselves. But then this whole community of people were like, no, like I'm obsessed with both of these things. And, true crime can get heavy and dark. And The Bachelor is the more lighthearted part. So we kind of get to balance both in this little world that we call this little swirl bubble that we have.
That's nice. And, they are really good balances for each other because I can overdo it on one or the other. My go-to show for years has been Housewives, Real Housewives. And sometimes when I overdo that, it's just so mind numbing, there's not substance. And I like to kind of jump into a true crime podcast. Which sounds maybe weird, but that's my balance too. But same thing, if I've overdone it on true crime and I've had too much graphic details and whatever, it's nice to just have something nice and light. So I love that you two did a mashup of the two. I think it's genius.
Thank you.
Clearly you're both geniuses.
We think so.
Yes.
I just think we're just talking to each other and seeing what the hell happens, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's been good.
And wonderful things are happening. So bring it back to true crime. What is your true crime origin? What got you into true crime in the first place?
I think that I've always been into true crime. I think I've always been a mini murderino, I guess. And to use that phrase, my mom and I used to do drills when I was younger about how to not get abducted. And I would lay on the floor and she would help me, make me keep my body weight down. And I would have to scream as loud as I could. And I just, we had passcodes for who came to pick me up. I remember my aunt trying to come and pick me up and I was like, what's the passcode? And she didn't know. And it was a thing. So I've always kind of been like that. I think that I, having a single mom, watched a lot of the news and a lot of true crime things, and she didn't really shield me from those things. So I think it's been forever and always that I've been interested in it. And just listening to podcasts, it kind of like relaxes me. And I'm so interested in all of the stories, not so much like the gruesome details, but still like, it seems so different. Maybe that's like reality TV too, where these people and their lives seem so different from my normal everyday life that it's just so fascinating to me that, you know, reality TV are tipping over tables, and true crime, that there are people out there who literally are, you know, evil.
And for me, I'm born and raised in Sacramento, California, and my like coming of age was right around the same time of Lacey Peterson's disappearance and murder. And it was, we've mentioned it on the pod before. It's the first one that really felt real to me. And it was the first one that I fully really understood what was happening. And ever since then, I'm just like, I'm fascinated by how people can do this to other people and like what really drives that. And in the last couple of years, I'd say probably in the last 5 or 10 years, it's really been about like me wanting to learn more and more about the victim story, and like, because those are so often unfortunately overlooked. Like when we think of the big serial killers, we think of that person, and we don't necessarily get to think of the victims, and we don't know the victim's backstory as well, which is kind of crappy. So
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like you're both situated in a good place to be able to tell some of these stories being attorneys. Not that necessarily the type of law you practice lines up with this, but the way that you look at these situations, I imagine you're trained in a different way being an attorney. So that's so cool that you're both attorneys.
we also like to do a little segment every now and then when it's applicable of Crime and Roses Law School. So we'll sit down and like talk about some legal aspects, and we're both only licensed in Georgia, so we can only speak to Georgia law, but a lot of that is becoming more and more universal. So
Right. Well, you've had some really amazing episodes. I love the Bachelor Trivia Night. That was like a great lighthearted sort of thing. I also love the Music City Murders episode. And you also have some great interviews with people from Bachelor Nation. Out of all the cases you've researched and out of all of your Bachelor episodes, do you have a favorite episode?
I think that we do. We usually point people if they say like, what's your best one? I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I know that I covered a death of Malaysia Booker, who was in the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that was the first time, I think I like even like shed a tear, and kind of speaking to what Megan talked about, because you know, she really all she wanted to do was like become famous, and then she ends up becoming famous in death. And you know, talking about her family that really didn't identify with her or agree with her lifestyle, and then, you know, they came to, after death, you know, started to appreciate her more, and, you know, at the end ended up accepting her wishes in the way that she wanted to be buried and things like that. And I think it just had really resonated with me, and like Megan said, of really highlighting the victim and highlighting what she's been through and how much change she's made for her community and her family in death, which is what we hope to do in life. So I think that was the one that spoke to me the most.
And I agree. I love that episode. I always point people in the direction of that episode. The one that always gets me, though, is that one. But the episode where we cover the 2014 Isla Vista shooting is the one that gets me. Doing the research for that, I sobbed multiple times, because it's just a really heart-wrenching story to even go near for me. And being able to somehow tie that into Bachelor Nation to be able to talk about some of the issues that we see with the show and with the franchise, and being able to talk about and connecting that to real life things that have happened to real life people. So that's one of my favorite episodes.
Great. Well, ladies, it's been so fantastic having both of you here today. Can you let our viewers know where they can find you on social media?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Crime and Roses. You can also, we have a link, our Patreon as well. Just if you basically Google Crime and Roses, you'll find us everywhere. Megan's really good at connecting all of those things. So when in doubt, Google Crime and Roses and you'll seek us out.
Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe to Crime and Roses wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single episode.
We are having a big giveaway, and you could win a big basket of murder merch just for registering at the MurderMurder.news commune. The prize basket includes our MurderMurder News tote bag and t-shirt, a Stay Spooky shirt in any size you like from Stay Lucky Boutique, a killer necklace from Forensic Miles, this Son of a Witch zip pouch from DeKaylee Shop, a Good Wine and True Crime sticker from Lacey Olson, and this Talk Murder to Me mug from Mug Matters Studio. All of this awesome murder merch is worth over $150 with no purchase necessary. All you have to do is go to MurderMurder.news to register your account and let us shower you with true crime presents. We will have 2 winners, one in the US and one in Canada, and we'll announce the winners live on our channel in October. We love reading your comments, so long as you're not a troll, and we want to thank Las Chicas del Crime for commenting that they are shaking their heads. They really hope the Innocence Project is able to revise the law in Florida that doesn't allow compensation for exonerees.
Thank you also to 100 Pages a Day for commenting that they have driven on woods at night and seen deer, and it's an experience they'll never forget. There's no way a deer looks like a man.
Thanks so much for tuning into This Week in True Crime with MurderMurder News. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below, give us a thumbs up, and tell all of your true crime friends.
If you just can't get enough true crime, join our commune at MurderMurder.news for our Monster Book Club and cold case solving groups. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. See you next week.